Your computer's about to die.
No, it's not. It's not telling me that it's about to die.
Well, Emily, it's like
14%.
It's 14%, man.
I'm not gonna guess.
E stands for excellence.
You got a hit the tank left. Come on.
Right. I mean, geez. We'll deal with that problem if it arises during this. In 2019, we began to build our dream.
But the journey started long before you were invited to watch.
We walked a path that spanned nearly 2 decades.
There were times of joy, pain, and everything in between.
Our lives have completely changed, and we're ready to tell you how it happened.
We're not holding back.
Our mistakes, regrets,
What we wish we could change, our best decisions.
and if we do it again, you'll hear it all.
Come back in time with us behind the camera and answer the question,
Is self-building worth it?
Welcome to Mr. Post Frame. Is self-building worth it? We're talking about our personal build. We're just kind of going through the series, talking about different topics. Today, we're gonna be talking about all of the things that we did to prep for spray foam. But let's go ahead and talk about our design service and patron.
Sure. So we have a DIY group on Patreon if you guys are interested in learning more about how to contract your own build, how to do things yourself, what advice Paul might give you when it comes to your specific project, because every project does have differences. So join that community. It's a great place to get a lot of really one-on-one help, community help, that type of thing. We also have design services. So if you're looking to design a Barndominium, stick frame, steel frame, or post frame, back40buildings.com. You can check us out there. Stock plans, custom design. Pretty cool stuff.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the video.
Yeah, so today's video, it's if you want to watch the full video, check out the description below. Final preparations before insulating. That was, I mean, we were pumped.
Oh yeah, so pumped. And little did we know that we would have disaster strike.
Yeah, disaster. So we published this video March 6th, 2020. So that was a pretty pivotal point in everybody's world.
Yeah.
Our channel was like taken off at this point. We were feeling good about it. And we were like so excited about getting this thing insulated. We'd never done spray foam insulation before.
No, but I had done a lot of research on it, and I knew if we ever built a new house, because up to this point we had never built a new house. We basically
okay financial.
Sorry.
We had always bought old houses and remodeled them. But I knew that there was so much value in spray foam outside of just its superior insulating qualities. You know, you get the structural strength, it's your air barrier, vapor barrier. It's kind of an all-in-one thing. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. And we're gonna keep plugging away. I think I've got maybe today and tomorrow left to get ready for spray foam insulation, which I am super pumped about. I got all my internal framing all ordered. So I'm pumped about that, but we'll just go through with show you what I did so far with these headers.
God, you had so much life in your voice.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Pumped.
Huh?
Were you excited?
Yeah, he said he did that. He did one of those, super pumped.
I'm pumped about everything. Looks like I was just finishing up the final touches. This is when we had decided we wanted to add this room above the garage, so I had to make sure I had that header and beam in.
How did that happen? You guys just talk about it, or you were like, "Man, we got all this space up here"?
Well, when I was up there building it, I'm like, dang, there's a lot of room up here. It's like 10 feet to the peak. And I was up there, I'm like, man, I could make a door from the upstairs loft that would come right into this room. So, I mean, at the time, this is pre-COVID, obviously. Like, I think, what was it, $1,000 to add the...
Yeah, I remember us having like a discussion with Joey and Eric about it, and Derek was like, if you aren't gonna do it, I will give you $1,000. Because he was like, we need a room to put all the kids and shut the door. Because there's, 6 of them, so.
And 5 years later, I still haven't done it. It's on my list for this winter.
Yeah. And thankfully, Eric didn't give us the $1,000, because right now the plan is not to turn it into a kid's space. It's actually going to turn it into just you and I have a big office.
Yeah, something. I don't know. We'll make it cool.
Yeah.
Figures this now Justin's leaving us, like, I'm gonna have to be able to edit and look out the window and be able to hunt all at the same time.
So it's going to turn into a deer blind with 13 computers in it.
Yeah, big screen. I'll be right by the window so I can have my gun set up on a tripod. Late muzzleloader season. Just every once in a while, peek out while I'm editing. Like, oh wait.
Justin's like, just kidding, Missy. We're not going to go to Texas. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so I guess before spray foam, you just want to make sure, I mean, I have a pretty good process now. So before your spray foam goes in, you want to make, obviously the bottom of your wall is going to be capped off because you're going to have concrete. And then you want the top of your wall capped off. And then any fire breaks that you're required by code in your area, you want to have those in place because it's a lot easier to have them all done prior to the spray foam going in. It'll make life a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Now, your philosophy has always been to put spray foam in before you do all of your rough-in trades.
Yes, and it works for this type of construction because we have an 8.5-inch wall cavity.
Yeah.
Which that gives us plenty of room inside that spray foam in the interior wall to have all of our plumbing and electrical. Mm-hmm. So it's a really clean way to insulate and install. Now, if you don't have money in your budget for spray foam, you need to pick an insulation and stick with it. And yes, spray foam is a superior product, but if you choose rock wool, mineral wool, fiberglass, you just have to do a really good job installing it. And there's a little bit of differences in each one on how you attain your vapor barrier, depending on where you are in the country, where that vapor barrier needs to be located. The cool thing about spray foam is whether you're in Florida or you're all the way up in Canada, you can spray 3 inches and you're good to go.
Right.
The vapor barrier is exactly where it needs to be. Where all other insulations, depending on where you are, you might have to put your 6 mil vapor barrier on the inside, like down when you're in the south, it needs to be on the outside. Because it needs to be on the warm side of the wall. So that's one great thing about closed cell spray foam that I personally love. You'll never see me in any of my videos say, hey, if you don't use this, you're gonna have failure, because it comes down to your installation. And anytime you have a human involved, that's where the error occurs. Most of these products have been, not most of them, they've all been tested, and there are installation methods that you use, and it comes down to how you execute that installation.
Yes.
Is the bottom line. Like our last house in Illinois, it was a 1970s ranch. I completely stripped it down to the bones, and I wrapped it, made sure all the seams were taped, properly installed my windows, flash and taped them, and we put all fiberglass batten there. Now it only had 8-foot ceilings, but that house was incredibly efficient.
Oh yeah.
There weren't air there. The house wasn't bleeding air all over the place. So you can have good results with a lesser product. You're just not going to get some of the other benefits. And then there's some things you're going to have to think about. What's the perm rating I have to have for my vapor barrier? And that's going to depend on where you are in the country. Like
Right.
Here in the Midwest, you have to have a 0.1 to 1 perm vapor rating.
Right.
So those are just things you have to think about when you use different insulations.
Yeah, and that's one thing to keep in mind when you're doing research and you're exploring, like you're asking for people's opinions on groups and different things like that. A lot of people don't understand that there isn't one answer to fit all types of builds, and so they're going to tell you what was their experience, and it might not be applicable to you. And if you were to do that, you could have major problems. I also know that there's a lot of still out there, in spite of us being very open and transparent about our insulation failure, there's still a lot of people out there really promoting having a combination insulation in your walls in order to save money or fill the cavity or something like that. And it is one of the only things that our company
We'll say no.
will say no to 100% of the time. Like, I don't know if there's anything else you would tell somebody never, ever, ever to do, and it's...
No, but, I mean, I am a spray foam person, and even after our experience, like that was human error. It wasn't spray foam error, it was human error. Like, because if it's applied properly, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I would put spray foam in all my houses. If I would have had the money at the time, I would have sprayed my whole roof in. We just didn't. But we used fiberglass blow-in in there and an R60, and the house is amazing.
Yeah, the house is...
And I'll never tell somebody like, hey, just because you use fiberglass, your house is crap. That's not true.
No.
That is not true at all.
No.
Is it a lesser product when you compare it to some other things? Yes, but it's still an insulator, and if you just have to take other precautions to make it work well.
Yes.
So I don't feel like anybody should feel bad about not using spray foam or bad about not using rock wool, and you know what I mean. Like, you just have to do it the way it's supposed to be done. Do you have access to a good spray foamer?
Right.
Where are you located? What's your budget? Maybe you have to have a DIY option in order to move forward.
Right. Because closed cell spray foam is not a DIY
No.
option.
That's one reason I love it.
That is, it kind of takes that out of it for you. You have one less thing to do. Yeah, and we feel like we're so lucky. Like, we are in outside of Des Moines, and our spray foam contractor, it's his weekend job, but the guys at, like, the spray foam guys at, like, Owens Corning and stuff are impressed with how good he does.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Well, and he takes his time. It comes down to execution, and he doesn't get in a hurry. He takes pride in his work. So I guess that's that.
Yeah, so if you think you're within a couple of hours of us and you want his info, happy to share it. So you also go through all of this about...
Right, so here in the garage, I have to have something for the spray foam to keep it from bulging, so I had to get my steel up. Because if you just have your house wrap, it's going to expand, so it's going to bulge that house wrap. So I had to make sure that everywhere that we were spraying against had something solid behind it.
And the wall between our house and garage is all spray foam because the house is taller than the garage.
Right.
A lot of our clients, if they have matching roof lines, they'll just leave that.
Yeah, and just use like fiberglass, rock wool, mineral wool, something like that.
Did you do the whole wall or just the top?
I did the whole wall. Yeah. I didn't, at that time, I didn't know I was going to be heating the garage. I thought I'd keep the garage at 40, but I didn't know I'd keep it like the same as the house. I didn't know it'd be that efficient. But I don't think but it does help in the summer because we don't air condition the garage.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and if you had left that part out, we wouldn't have been saving that much money if you had not done the bottom part.
No, because it was 9 feet, 10 feet. Look how open that is.
Looks so fresh. Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
No, you just did a house that the client did spray foam the roof and everything like that. How do you feel like that compared to prep wise? Do you like that? Like, would you be like, that's easier?
The only real difference, there's a couple things that I had to do differently. One, where I take I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 1/2-inch plywood and I'm going to put it up in the soffit, leave like a 2-inch gap so air can come through the vented soffit and flow up. Where I just ran it all the way to the ceiling. The best time to do that is when you're framing and you can do it from the outside. And that's how I did his this year. And then also the peak, you run the plywood up where it's almost touching because that's going to get filled all with spray foam. You're not venting. And then at your gables, you need to block in between your purlins so when he sprays it, he has something to spray to.
Right.
So those are the only real differences. You still cap off the top of your wall cavities. You need that for a fire, so fire can't spread to your attic. And you got to do some things like that. But
Right.
It's very little changes really if you're spraying the whole thing in.
Sure, yeah. And if you live in an area where you have a series of inspections, one way to be able to go in this same order is just to set up an additional framing inspection to get your exterior frame passed. And then you can put your spray foam in, then you can put your trades in. Otherwise, if you wait until all of it's roughed in, you're gonna get spray foam all over all your wires and plumbing, and it's just, it's just not, and it's gonna be a lot harder for your contractor to get a really consistent, smooth finish on it. Stick frame houses though, you're gonna, if you use spray foam, you're more than likely gonna have to do, you don't have a big enough cavity.
So most stick frame houses are 2x6 walls minimum now. I think that's kind of, the energy code requires that now.
Yeah.
But you only have 5.5 inches there, so you put 3 inches in there, you're not gonna be able to run 2-inch PVC. It's just gonna get really difficult. So most of the time you're putting in all your trays before you spray foam it.
Right.
Which makes it a lot more difficult for the spray foamer. He can still do a good job. The spray foam isn't gonna damage your plumbing, it isn't gonna damage your wires. They've done all the testing, so it's completely safe to do that. But that's why I just love the 8.5-inch wall cavity. It makes for such a clean install. You look around our house, you look at all the outlets, you look at all the light switches, all the penetrations. Like I have to do zero sealing around any of that because it's all sealed behind it. So like there's no taping, a vapor barrier, there's nothing.
Right. So it really does save you a lot of effort.
Oh yeah, it saves you a ton of time in the long run and a ton of effort.
And if you are hiring in then plumbing, electrical, HVAC, those contractors are going to probably be a lot more agreeable with you because their workspace is, is not, they have a nice space to work with. They don't have to worry about a bunch of random stuff.
Boy, look at me go up and down that ladder. I don't think I could do that today.
I know, I was thinking about it this morning. Our house has been finished about the same amount of time as it took to build now. Like we're at that half and half point.
Really? How long have we been in here?
Well, it's been finished. We got our approval to close our mortgage at the beginning of 22.
Sure.
And so we're 2.5 years almost into that.
Yeah. Oh, this is another thing. I'm putting in my 1/2-inch through bolts, which I usually don't do that and you can use structural lags too. There's a bunch of different options you can do, but you definitely want to get those in before your spray foam. I wait until I usually get the building all squared and the roof's on and I know it's not going to be moving around, and then I get it all bolted in place.
Now, a lot of people talk about doing, adding something over the spray foam. One of the arguments is to help deaden the noise and everything like that. I don't feel like
No, it's quiet in here.
Yeah.
It's super windy and you can't.
Yeah, the trees will be bent over and you can't hear the wind. The rain, if it hits the windows, that's what makes the...
Yeah, and then we don't have sheathing under our steel, which that's the loudest thing when the rain.
Yeah.
If you have a torrential downpour, it's pretty loud.
And I don't know, do you think, Justin, do you feel like it's really echoey when you come in here? Because I don't feel like it's really loud in here.
And
we've had
without
parties.
all the furniture and stuff.
Yeah, without your furniture, it was loud.
But when you have all the stuff in here.
You don't have rugs, because you have a hard ceiling and a hard floor.
Yeah.
I could see that, but when you add all this, it's all deadening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I would say that any echo in the room is not necessarily attributed to having closed cell spray foam in the walls. It's more attributed to just not having enough stuff to absorb sound. And just 18-foot ceilings in this room. That's kind of unavoidable. Have you ever been in a house with tall ceilings, regardless of how it was built, that there's a little...
It's going to be a little different than a house with an 8-foot ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't feel like it's anything that should deter somebody from going this route.
Yeah. What else do we need to talk about here?
I don't know, but this was a wild ride after this got done.
Yes, it was. I
But
think
the contractor that we used came recommended,
by Menards.
yeah, with like
Save big money at Menards.
with 14 years of experience. And boy, it was a wild.
Oh, it was wild.
I remember you coming home from him being at the job and being like, bro's having a rough day.
Yeah. He was like, at one point, if you, in the video that I posted, at one point he was laying on the floor right there. Just like laying on the floor. I think he was having a rough time in his life, so I gave him a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
But I won't use him again.
Yeah. Well, thankfully we have this other contractor who he's a gem.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a gem. Everybody should use him. He's one of those guys that like his work deserves to be out there in the world. That's the guy we use now.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Gosh, does this like make you want to do it again?
The way I feel right now, no. But yes, I would.
Yeah.
I would love to. I'd love to buy us a bigger piece of property and do it all over.
Yeah.
I'd build the same exact house. Just change it. Mm-hmm. I mean, or we could just come design something completely new.
I know. It'd be weird not to have this one though.
We can't really pick it up and move it though.
No. That would be impractical.
Yeah, so what is the next video going to be on? Are we going to talk about like, we could still pull clips out of that video of the spray foam. We can talk about like what happened, how we resolved it, and kind of what we learned through it. Because we did learn a ton that has helped us as builders. It's helped us for our future own personal. I know I really educated myself on spray foam in general over that whole situation. And so, yeah, I think the next one we'll talk about all that.
Yeah, we could do that. Even though the actual occurrence of this, so this was at the beginning of March in 2020, the failure didn't impact us until the following like February, the end of January.
Oh, it didn't, did it?
Right.
Dang, I forgot that.
Yeah, drywall was
So I
in.
did all the interior framing, so it sat there. We went all through the summer. So yeah, we can't do that next.
Yeah, 'cause you did all that work.
Yeah. So come back in about a year when we do that episode
It
of
won't
it.
be that long. It's not gonna be that long. Yeah, so I guess we get spray foam. Well, I don't even know. I want to show them a bad spray foam installation, and then
Just know this is a topic that you definitely need to do your research on. You need to really take into consideration what we've talked about. Don't mix insulation types in your walls. Make sure you have a contractor who has quality at the top of their mind.
Yeah.
And and we have lots of videos showing you really good spray foam, so you can kind of see what should the finished product look like if that's the route that you take.
Anything else, Justin?
All right.
Well, we appreciate you watching. I know this wasn't probably a super exciting one, but there's some good information in here, I think.
Yeah.
We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. All the interior framing, all the trades. I did all of that, so that's kind of fun. But as always, we appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends, and we will catch you on the next video.